So guys, welcome back to the channel. I recently posted a video about my experience trying to shop for canning lids. And oh boy, did that video blow up with comments. And I kind of want to address a couple of the comments that I got and kind of share with you guys what my plan is in this situation. I know our canning supply companies are telling us that supplies will be back in stores in March, but do I want to depend on that after going through this experience? Not necessarily. I mean, I'm definitely going to go and try and get supplies, don't get me wrong, but I do have other backup plans. And so I'm just going to share with you what my backup plans are, and some of them will be controversial and some of them maybe not so much. So let me share with you. I'm up in my office today, by the way, and I brought up all my stuff so I could just share this with you and work on it throughout the day. And I'll wrap this video up this evening with the final thing. I'm prepping. So many comments on reusable lids. Guys, I'm a huge believer of reusable lids. I have a box here of regular mouth and wide mouth Tatler lids. Another box here of regular mouth and wide mouth Tatler lids. And I still have 4 boxes of wide mouth and 3 boxes of regular. But guys, I usually keep cases of lids in my house for stock, and I would say close to, I've never counted myself, I would guess 500 jars of food a year. This is not enough. I know that. This is not enough to prep. And if you've ever bought Tatler lids, it's quite the investment. And so just to say to somebody, well, just go and use Tatler lids, you should try it. Well, when you can the quantity of food that we're talking about, that's a significant ask for somebody to invest that amount of money. So I did a big investment last year. It's not in my plans this year to further invest in that. But if I get myself in a situation, I do have some backups here. I will tell you my experience with Tatlers is they've worked perfectly for me in pressure canning situations. I've never had a seal fail after pressure canning with them. Water bath canning, a different story. I just don't think enough pressure is built up to create a strong enough seal in some cases. So I would say I've probably had a 70% success rate water bath canning. So that expresses that comment, and we're all over it. We're doing it. I definitely recommend it as your next option for sure. Just understand that if you're a new canner, they're pricey. But they're pricey for a reason, because they're going to last and last you. Now, who wants to talk about Amazon shopping for canning lids? Well, that night when I got home, I did just that. It was one of those, I can't sleep, it's 4 a.m., get on Amazon, and I bought some canning lids. And they came in the mail last night. So I want to go over the ones that I feel maybe a little bit confident about. They are completely generic. They are China products. So the first ones came like this. They are very nicely packaged. Sure Tight lids, they're called, wide mouth. So let's open one together and let's take a peek. And these, all it says for preparation is just wash like you would normal lids. I don't even do that, but I will if these, just not knowing the condition of these. In soapy water, but you don't have to boil them or anything first. Excuse the plastic. Let's open one. So these came 48 lids to a box. Yep, 48 lids to a box. I'll leave the links of what I picked down below. Very nice. No scratching. I'll definitely inspect each one. They have a small button top, but it's not as pronounced as probably a ball button top would be. But I can definitely feel the rubber coating on it. So that, I mean, it feels like it's a pretty decent rubber coating. So I feel pretty confident in these. Now the other ones. And this brand, whatever brand it was, did not have regular mouth, so I had to pick something different. And when these came, I was like, oh, still a nice box. It comes in a big sleeve, 48 lids. But when I opened them, guys, I already peeked at these ones. Well, first off, they're not in plastic. They say canning and they have a little spot to make a date. They are button top. But I will tell you, I don't know how to express it, but it's like you can tell that that rubber gasket around it or that rubber seal is quite a bit thinner than what you would have on a ball or care canning jar. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a trial run in my pressure canner and a trial run in my water bath canner with just some jars of water and see how they do before I try these on food. And if they don't work well, my plan will be to use these for dry goods storage, gift giving, cosmetics, things like that. But I hope that they work. I feel pretty confident in those wide mouth ones. So this group will be equal to my secondary option of Tatler lids. Now, I want to talk controversy for a minute. So I keep a junk drawer of all my Castaway canning lids. They're canning lids that have been used before, and I often, standardly, will use them for, like once I open a jar and it needs to go in the fridge because there's leftover contents, I will, you know, use one of these. But I have used these in an emergency situation for canning. And I think that that's what if you feel comfortable, that's what we need to be prepared to do. So my plan is to go through these today. I'm going to pull out the ones that I think are still in good enough condition. Talk to you later about why I think they're still in good enough condition and what I'm going to do to prep these lids so that they're a backup in case I can't find any inventory when it comes back into the stores. Now, you're going to read all over every guidance from canning lid suppliers that they are a one-time use option. They're not intended to be used multiple times. That they may, so the way that they word it is intended for one-time use, may cause seal failure, right? And I think that that is just a decision that you have to make. Even canning lids today can fail, like brand new canning lids can fail their seals. It's just something that we often monitor as we're preserving food. We go down and we check our pantry. Have any of my lids seals failed? If they've failed, you pull that off your inventory, off your shelf, and you discard that food. And I'll tell you, in my experience, if you pick the right used canning lids with a good enough rubber coating still to them, I think that they're just as successful. So just briefly, I'll tell you, you want to make sure that the button still pops. And when I do it, I just make sure that I can still feel plenty of rubber there. I'm going to prep these though later today, this afternoon while I'm working. I'm just going to be sorting, going through, making sure I'm not have any damage, dents, things like that around it. Any of those I'll still keep for dry storage, things, or leftover storage in the fridge. And the others, I'm going to share with you what I'm going to do to prep them as my backup to my backup. So it was a great experience though, talking with you guys and getting your comments on that initial video. But I felt like it was worthy to come back and say, okay, but what am I doing now? So let's talk about it later. When I get through these today, I'll be sure to come right back and share with you. And I love your feedback. I'm definitely not necessarily recommending this for everyone. This is my personal choice in my household, and it may not be something that you feel comfortable with, and that's completely okay. So I'll see you guys back in a little bit. Right now it's back to work and sorting jar lids. Okay, well, it's the end of the day. Can you guys see this is my junk pile. Let me turn you guys around. So yeah, junk pile. And this is the salvageable potential pile that I will be taking downstairs now and showing you guys how I'm gonna prep those for last resort, use them for canning. So I brought up some bags just so I can clean up my mess. A lot of these I'm actually, let me just show you real quick before I leave here. Show you why I discarded some. So can you guys see that? It's kind of like right here. I got a bad dent in it from being pried open. Before I got that pry lid tool, I used to damage so many lids using a church key. This one is also damaged. Let me see if I can find some. So this one, just really, really rusty, old. Some of them that I kept have little rust spots around the edge, but not this heavily rusted. Here's another example. So scratches on the white part, showing the exposed metal. You don't want to use those. If I can find any other examples. They're all pretty much for those reasons. Some just, I can't find one right now, but some don't easily bounce back. The button, like it pushes in, but it doesn't come back. You have to push it back out. That's pretty much the standard reasons. Oh, there was quite a few that like rubber was actually missing off that rubber seal, just a gouge in it. So that would definitely potentially automatically create a failure mode in them. But almost all of them damage, for the most part, damaged, or the button is not active. So that's how I would describe it. It doesn't actively pop. So all of those, I'm going to get rid of the damaged ones, honestly. I don't know why I'm holding on to them as much as I am. And the ones that just the button doesn't equally work, I'm going to continue to save those for dry storage. But I have quite a nice pile sitting here behind me that will go into my last resort use pile. So let me clean up my mess and I'll meet you guys downstairs in the kitchen. Okay, so I'm back down in the kitchen. What I'm gonna do is, and I'll be honest with you, I've never done this before, but at least if I'm gonna share something controversial, I'm gonna make sure I share the least controversial way to do this. So when I've used my lids in the past, I've never taken this step, but you probably should. So I'm gonna boil them for 20 minutes. Supposedly, that helps plump up those rubber seals just a little bit. I wanna show you guys just an example of what I'm working with. So this is a used canning lid. Can you see? Like, I'm sure it was water bathed, but there's hardly even an indentation on that seal. I can't even see one. So others, you can clearly see that ridge that's made. And supposedly this process will just help smooth that back out. So we're gonna put our wide mouths in one jar or one pot and our regular mouths in another pot. And when I'm all done, I'm gonna count them because I haven't done that yet and see, worst case scenario, how many do I have? So, yeah. And then my regular mouths I'm gonna throw in here. And like I said, I'm just gonna boil them for 20 minutes. Now, if you wanted to, like, you don't totally feel safe doing this for every situation, what would be one of the things that would probably make me more confident is reusing old lids for pressure canning only, not water bath, because water bath isn't that super strong, tight pull of a vacuum on the seal. So that might be, if you're even just considering it, might be something that you just start with. Or like I said, start with just practicing with water and say, hey, is it even gonna be worth it? But honestly, guys, there's nothing about you're gonna kill your family, you're gonna poison your family. That is a scare tactic from the manufacturers, honestly, that make this stuff. In my opinion, that's my opinion. As long as you're not using damaged ones, like I said, throw your damaged ones away. Check to make sure that you have no metal exposed, that your rubber's there, and use it only in case of an event like this where you have no other options. So I got quite a few. Regular mouth seems to hold up better than wide mouth, that's for sure. So, what else though? Let's end with this. Forget about ending with what these are going to look like. I'll throw that at the end. But what else am I going to change? So, I've been talking to myself, saying, you know, Rachel, maybe you shouldn't be canning so much convenience foods like your soups and things like that during a time like this when there's shortages. Just stick to your basics. And yes, it's going to take you a little bit longer to cook dinner sometimes. But, so probably not canning as many convenience items. I asked myself today, like, I feel like I need to restock canned ground beef in my pantry right now. Like, is that really a priority if my freezers are still working? Definitely not necessarily food security, but so that's an internal conversation I'm having with myself. And then I'm also talking to myself about what am I going to do different this year for just food preservation. Dehydrating more is definitely one option. Fermenting more. I'm not super confident in the fermenting wheelhouse, nor do I necessarily prefer the taste of fermented foods in all cases. But fermenting more is definitely an option because you don't have to can it then. And dry storage. So like my carrots, that's a lot of jars. Cabbage, like my pickled coleslaw that I love so much. You can honestly do that overnight. Just pickle up some coleslaw for like making slaws and it still has that wonderful flavor and you don't have to can it. That I could just store cabbage down in like a root cellar method. Same with my carrots. Maybe probably not canning potatoes if I can't recover, you know, if the industry doesn't recover with the inventory I need for lids. So just those type of hard decisions will probably be what I ask myself this year. So thanks for seeing all the options. It really was to let you guys know that, number one, I hear you. I hear your comments. I see your comments. I'm doing it all. I got the reusable lids. We're going strong there. I did the Amazon thing that everyone said, don't do it. And some of them I was happy with, others, I'll test them first. And do you ever reuse your lids? Lots of people do. I saw lots of those comments. I have, not frequently. I would say in the cases that I have before, it's been where I needed like one and I didn't have that inventory in stock. So I am prepping to have to rely on that. So I'll see you guys at the end and we'll take a look at these after boiling them for 20 minutes and see if it makes a difference. Well, it's been 20 minutes. See if I see any difference. I'm sure they're going to be hot. I guess a better experiment would have been, now that I'm doing it, thinking about it, boiling it one at a time. But I feel like I can see there would have been an indentation there, and it definitely looks much smoother. Oops, hot, hot, hot. Ah, it's so hot. Need Todd's hands. He can handle hot things better than I can. Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think it worked. Look at that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, nice and smooth. Nice. All right, I'll probably just let these cool in the water. I'm gonna see if I see any that, okay, here's one that doesn't look like it got maybe as smooth as some. So this one still has a pretty decent increase or decrease in the seal. But you know when you feel that rubber and it's still so thick? So I think I'll probably keep this. I think how I'm going to sort them is the ones that are perfectly smooth, sort those as first of the last, and then the ones that are still have a little bit indent, like last resort. Let's take a look at our pint size, or our regular mouth ones. Okay. Immediately on top is one very similarly that still has a little bit of an indentation in it. The next one looks great, really, really smooth. It has a little bit of an indent, but not too bad. For the most part, pretty darn smooth. Okay. Well, I don't think I'm going to hang on here and wait till these cool and tell you how many I got. What I'll do is I'll post it in my Instagram story. So if you guys are Instagrammers and follow us over there, I'll post it in the story how many I got. Or maybe make a feed post, that way if you don't catch it the exact day, it'll be in the feed somewhere. But hey, I'm going to end it with this one statement. This isn't for everybody. This is my personal choice. It's my response to the environment we're living in, and make your decision appropriate for you. So if you don't feel comfortable doing this, I wouldn't suggest it. But it's definitely something I'm going to do to just build up my own stock, reusing decent lids that have been used in the past. So be gentle in the comments. That's all I'll say. Talk to you guys later.